Hello and welcome to another episode of The Front Row, episode 12 to be precise. I'm Ben and I'm joined with my regular co-host, Mr. Simon Adams.
Hello everyone.
And we're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the movie world, a bit of movie news as we tend to do. But how are you anyway, Simon? It feels like a long time since we sat down and had a good chat.
It is actually, yeah. And I've got a little snippet from my real life that is applicable.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My two worlds have collided here. One of the things we really don't like about going to the pictures and seeing a film is the sort of weighted performances. So you get like Saw 6 will be on 15 times a day and Argo once a day.
Yeah, that comes up quite frequently in the past, and I know it's a pet hate of yours because your local cinema seems to be particularly guilty of this.
Yeah, well, they really are. And the film that really struck me this time round was The Double, which is Richard Ayoada's new film.
Oh, yeah.
With Jesse Eisenberg. Well, I looked at a list of cinemas, and nowhere in Essex was on the list. And I listened to the interview with the director, and he said it's very unlikely that the film will ever see the light of day in Essex.
Really? Well, he specifically said that?
Yeah. He was on an Essex radio show.
Why did they have him on if it was never going to get played?
I must admit, that is second-hand information from a colleague.
All right. That's like really peculiar. But
yeah,
why Essex specifically? Like,
I don't know. There's some other regions where it's like not on very often or not on at all. But
well, now you mention it, actually, it certainly doesn't have much of a presence, if any presence, at my local Cineworld.
Yeah, I think I'm not exactly sure what the deal is because I think it would have done all right. But anyway, I was annoyed that it wasn't on at all, so I took it upon myself to email Cineworld. Because we're big Cineworld fans, we have the Cineworld Unlimited cards, and we mentioned that pretty much every week as well.
I love Cineworld. I think they offer a great service to people who love going a lot, because I quite frankly couldn't afford to go to Odeon as much as I go to Cineworld, purely because of their unlimited card.
Yeah, and it is a great system. I'm not a fan of how they've replaced all the Ben & Jerry stands with Baskin-Robbins stands, but never mind.
No, I know, that's, I never really bought any, but still, it's in principle.
Well, exactly. And this thing with the double is where my principal actually, I had to stand up for it because I had to. Normally, these events happen, and I didn't realise.
Was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
Was indeed.
Like you wandered in to your local Cineworld and you saw Baskin-Robbins there, and you're like, "Fuck's sake, man!" But then you walked up there, you let that slide, you let that water off the duck's back, went up to the counter. I'll have one to see the double. Sorry, sir, we're not showing that. Oh, hey, you kicked off after that.
Well, that's pretty much what it was, Ben. And so I emailed them, and I'm going to say I was particularly impressed with it because I've channeled all of my anger and frustration into sarcasm.
A very dangerous tool.
I don't actually have the email I sent them, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. Well, they actually emailed me back.
Oh, really?
Did you hear their response?
Yeah, actually, I'm interested.
Yeah, actually, it's from Roxana Udin at Customer Services, and I actually thank her for getting back to me so promptly with such a decent response. I was quite impressed. So this is what they had to say. Thank you for contacting Cineworld. I'm sorry to hear that you are dissatisfied with the film choice at your local Cineworld cinema. I can advise that this is down to the discretion of the film distributors and film buying team in regards to what performances are shown at which cinema. The decision is based on demand statistics for previous performances in each genre. A decision is then made as to whether or not to buy the film and where it will be shown. I appreciate that this choice does not always reflect the opinions of each individual, thus I will certainly pass your comments on to the film buying team to ensure they are aware of the issue and that it can be investigated for in the near future. I hope I've been able to address your concerns and I apologise, blah, blah, blah. So thanks to Roxana for a nice response there. But this implies to me that they're just shipping out any decision-making process to data companies.
And you know what? You can kind of see from a business point of view that makes sense. And you know what? I don't think our frustration comes from the fact that they do shows like, the generic, mediocre horror film that gets audiences in more than they show the arty thing that, only you will go to see, you and 3 other people. Yeah. What I think tips this over the edge is when they don't show it at all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I couldn't see Argo. I think it was on
And you know what? Fucking Argo was not exactly like an art house
I
obscure
know,
film. It was fucking mainstream. It won the goddamn Oscar, for God's sake.
and I couldn't see it at any local Cineworld or Odeon for that matter, just
That's
because
so
of
crazy.
it was on a tiny bit. But yeah, this one's not been on at all. And I think it's a problem because they say that the decision is based on demand statistics for previous performances. But if they don't show one, then how do they have a previous statistic?
I know what you mean. Like your results possibly get skewed over time. On it, like it is frustrating. I mean, what shocked me actually going this week, going to see the Raid 2 this week. I was
Yeah,
thinking, you know what, the Raid 1 is actually something that's got quite a bit of traction since it's come out on DVD and stuff. You know, like a lot of people have seen it for what is a obscure Indonesian film. And I thought, you know what, the Raid 2 is actually getting a lot of kind of mainstream press. It's getting a lot of word of mouth praise. I think it's going to be, big thing. Logged onto the website to book tickets. Fucking like 3 showings, and 2 of them were during working hours, like 9 to 5. And I was like, fuck me, it's an 18 film. Why are you putting it on twice during the day when adults work, and then once on a night?
and then that's the sort of thing that will skew the statistics because it's not people. If you're putting that film on it twice during the day, you're not going to get filling seats, and it's going to make it look like it's not as good as it is. It's not purely from a business point of view. It's not doing as well as it is.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. But anyway, the end of the story. What did I go and see the other day? I went to see Grand Budapest Hotel. Finally, it was alright. It was pretty good. And the double was on every night that week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you might have made a difference.
I'm just wondering if, well, I'm saying I made a difference in some capacity, but how many other people emailed them?
Well, the thing is, like, what's obviously happened, what's definitely happened is that, they've got your complaint and Googled you and thought, oh shit, this guy's part of a major hard-hitting movie review site. We need to address his concerns right away.
So yeah, they put it on Monday to Friday at 8 o'clock. Which is fair if it's not going to do very well. I think that's a fair time to put like an indie film on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind when they even put them on the late slot.
Yeah, it's fine. I haven't been to see it because I was busy. So
So you proved their point, basically.
pretty much. But I did send a roving reporter who will get back to me with a review.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it David?
No, it's not David.
Really?
It's the lovely lady who told me about the interview with them on the radio.
All
She's
right.
a big fan.
All right, okay. Good stuff.
So I just thought that was quite interesting. It's a little bit of an insight that I'm not sure many, well, certainly not me at least, are aware of.
Well, it's funny. I think customer service is more important to companies these days in the world of social media. This again is going off topic, but I've tweeted at companies before, and because it's like a public comment, they're almost obliged to get back to you. I bought some t-shirts off BustedTees.com. I think it was Busted Tees, yeah. And it got delayed. Like it took a long time to get to me, and when it finally did, I didn't actually get the t-shirts through the post. I actually got a note from the taxman, from the Customs and Excise office saying you basically haven't paid fucking duty on this. You've got to come to the post office and pay duty. And I was like, well, shit. I paid for the product. I thought that would have covered postage. And I tweeted at them, and they got straight back to me and sorted it out.
Oh shit, maybe I should do that because I just bought some t-shirts off 80stees.com and I did the same thing happened to me.
Yeah, to me, if they know this, if they're willing to serve people in the UK, they should have postage that accommodates all this shit.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, if I bought £30 worth of t-shirts from them, that was what I had budgeted for, and I fucked my budget having to pay the fucking tax on them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been naive by me, but I don't know. But anyway, they sorted out, it was perfectly good. So yeah, it is launching in a kind of public forum. I mean, the other day, kind of a current thing that's going on at the moment is that the PlayStation Network's got an Easter sale on, and they were selling PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. God, that's a fucking mouthful of a title, but they were selling that on the Vita, the PlayStation Vita, for £6. I thought, you know what? It's not too bad. I'm going to buy it. Have that. It's probably something I'll play while I'm out and about. It's good, but the version they put up was basically fucked. And you downloaded it, and when it went to install, it would all crash out at 15%. It's a huge, widespread problem. Loads of people were tweeting about it, and there's a hashtag something like Fix All Stars Vita, and like
Yes.
people are trying to keep it alive. I think I actually put something on the ScreenHog account.
You did, yeah. I retweet just for why not?
Yeah, and people are basically like criticizing Sony openly, and they're having to deal with it. Although I must admit they're not really handling it very well. But I mean, their short-term solution was to take the version on sale down and put a new version for full price back up. And if you'd bought it previously, you couldn't download it for free again. The only thing you can do is go back into your download list and download the Duff version again. So I'm going to give it another week, and then I'm going to try to get a refund.
Like, if in terms of PR, I know that when the network got hacked and things, and even with the reception of the new consoles and stuff, Sony were one step ahead of Microsoft all the way in terms of public relations.
Yeah.
That's surprising, but.
Yeah, they've been very slow to fix it, but that's just one example. Kind of getting off topic, but so yeah, I mean, if poor customer service is something that gets you pissed off, here's something else that'll probably be slightly annoying and slightly baffling as well. Now, if there was one movie that didn't have a sequel, but you wanted a sequel for it, Simon, what would that movie be? I'll tell you what, I'll answer that question for you. It wouldn't be Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to spoil you.
Yeah, in some fucking bizarre twist, they're actually making, apparently, the wheels are turning on Mrs. Doubtfire 2, which is in the works at Fox 2000, which is kind of a subsidiary of Fox. And Chris Columbus is actually coming back to direct, and Robin Williams is coming back to star in it. And
it's not going to do well.
I don't know, man. Like it's really weird because the first one was actually made something like 21 years ago.
Yeah.
And it made a shit ton of money. It was made for $25 million, which is fuck all. And it made something like 450 million internationally.
Mm-hmm.
So it made a fuck ton of money. So why didn't somebody kind of sit down at the time and think, you know what? This is ripe for a sequel. Even if it's shit, it's monetary. And just let us rake in money. But why wait 21 years?
Just because it was script right.
What's the story going to be?
Do you think it made a lot of money overseas because there's not much of a story? It's just a man dressing up as a woman, so it probably translates fairly well.
Which is a very popular British pastime.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. The guy who's actually penning the script is a guy called these people with their long names, David Birnbaum, I think David Birnbaum. But he actually wrote Elf.
All right.
But he also wrote The Haunted Mansion. And he wrote Spiderwick Chronicles, which is actually it's not a bad little children's fantasy thing. It's kind of it's a bit overlooked. I thought it was all right. So I don't know, man. This sounds fucking bizarre. I mean, what was the last thing Robin Williams was in? I mean, the last time he started doing a lot of films, he started moving into serial killer territory. Like, was it Insomnia and 1 Hour Photo?
Yeah, 1 Hour Photo.
It's been a long time since he played like the cuddly old man.
I think it'd be creepy now. He really would be.
I mean, he doesn't need even prosthetics. He will be an old woman. He just needs to don the wig and the tits.
I don't know. And when you ask me the question, I've got to say, like, there's a lot of films I would put on that list, and there's a lot of films I put in the does not need a sequel list. I wouldn't have even Mrs. Doubtfire would be on neither list just because I wouldn't even think of it.
It's so old. It's so fucking old. And the thing is, like, we grew up in the 90s, so we're 90s kids.
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire, like, was Mrs. Doubtfire ever like a classic, a kid's classic for you? Like, did you ever watch it as a kid? Because I'm gonna say it passed me by.
I think I watched it once. I think it might have been just ahead of us, really.
Well, I know I had a friend who fucking loved it.
I think actually though, my cousin, she loved it, and she's younger than us.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 21 years ago, how old would we have been? 20? We would have been 4 or 5 when it came out.
Do you know what I want to see too? The Page Master.
The Page Master, man. Yeah, that was a fucking badass animated film.
Yeah.
They should have it go through loads of really adult books next time, though.
Like 50 Shades of Grey and...
Yeah. Like get a Stephen King book thrown in there or something.
Hell, that would be awesome.
Yeah, like just have them like fall through loads of like awesome books that are never going to get made into their own films. Like have them stumbling through the Dark Tower books. for one section.
Oh God, that gets confusing anyway. Let's not bring that into it.
It kind of fit into the law.
But look, we've come up with a better sequel idea within 5 minutes.
Yeah, throw money at Pagemaster 2. God, I haven't watched that film in so long. The thing is about the Pagemaster, it was a cool idea, but the main kid was annoying.
Well, it's what's his face, isn't it? It's Home Alone kid, isn't it? What's his name?
Oh, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, it's him, isn't it?
Is he doing the voice, is he?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of live action in it. Yeah, I think it's him.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, God, there is fucking live action, isn't it? God damn, it's so long since I've seen it. I'm actually
Well, I was going to say though, I'm willing to bet that Macaulay Culkin's cheaper than Robin Williams as well. So I'm keeping our costs down on our sequel.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd actually, if he had any money, he'd probably pay to be in it.
And and guess who directed that?
Who directed that?
Joe Johnson, American Pie fame. No, I mean Captain America fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, there you go. You said.
There you go. Comes full circle.
Sort of. Let's get off topic of something more interesting that's not real.
Well, no, actually, I've got something else on top of this. You know how we don't want Mrs. Doubtfire 2? Not because we're necessarily against it, just because I can't think of a relevant storyline, and I like who gives a shit after 21 years. But the child star of the original, Mara Wilson, who also played Matilda in the Roald Dahl adaptation.
Oh, yeah.
She's completely moved away from acting. She really doesn't do anything like that anymore. But she's basically went on record on Twitter saying, "No, I don't have anything to do with the sequel, and nor will I." So she's out as well. And like the thing is, like her exact quote was, "For the record, no, I don't have anything to do with the sequel, Mrs. Doubtfire sequel, nor will I." And then she went on to say, "Sequels generally suck unless they were planned as part of a trilogy or series. I think Doubtfire ended where it needed to end." And I think she's very right in that regard.
I think it ended about 2 hours after it needed to end. It's not very good. I don't like it.
It's just fucking.
I don't find it funny. I find it's the same sort of cringeworthiness that you get in Meet the Parents almost, but in Meet the Parents they execute it well and then throw so much of it at you that you have to laugh.
At least Meet the Parents has got like a slightly gross, it's got that like gross out edge to it, that kind of silly, slightly adult edge to it. Whereas Mrs. Doubtfire is a PG family film. So it's just sugary, sweet shit all the way through.
Let's have Beethoven 6.
I think that already exists.
Oh, does it? I was egging up my numbers to make it realistic.
There's a shit ton of them, honestly. Who honestly thought that would be good? There's a lot of Beethoven movies, though.
Let's have Homeward Bound 3, and then, we'll have to get all new animals in, obviously.
Is there not a Homeward Bound 3?
I think there's just 2 of them ones. I'm fairly sure. Or a Mighty Ducks 4 then. So, just something else. There's at least storylines in all of these.
No, Oh, no. No, you're right. There's only 2. I was going to say, there's a load of fan fiction about Homeward Bound 3. But not an actual movie, it would seem.
How much you bet there was a lot of fan fiction about Mrs. Doubtfire 2?
I'm guaranteeing less than Homeward Bound 3.
Right.
Although, who really wanted the second Homeward Bound? Like, these pets getting lost once and making their way back is believable in like a far-fetched kind of good story. Although it's based on a true story, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I could be talking shit. But, it's based, certainly the Disney Homeward Bound is based on The Incredible Journey, which is an older movie. Which is actually slightly better, because if I remember rightly, the animals don't speak. It's just literally them kind of going on a journey and like people filming them. Whereas in the kind of the 90s remake, the dogs and the cat have voices.
Look at Michael J. Fox.
What, in the original or the
new one? Well, I say the new one again, 1994.
It's so long since I've seen those movies. I just don't think they've aged well.
No, but it's got talking animals in it.
Yeah, it's not good. Talking animals
is a staple of the 90s.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it? Yeah. Look Who's Talking, were they 90s films?
Yeah, I think so. So it was talking animals, talking babies, and cross-dressing nannies. That was the 90s.
Yeah, it's best left really in the past. We're living obviously the golden age now.
Well, we're too old to appreciate this stuff.
Well, to be fair, we still have Big Mama's house.
And
That was the noughties version.
there's a really good joke on Community where they're talking about when black people films, as they call it, get retooled for white audiences.
It does happen. It's like a decade later, but you know.
Mrs. Doubtfire in Big Mama's house, yeah.
The thing is, the only way I can see this Mrs. Doubtfire's 2, it's going to come full circle because the only thing I can think of as a reasonable plot for Mrs. Doubtfire 2 is to borrow the plot of Big Mama's House 3, like Father Like Son. Father Like Son? I don't know. But where Martin Lawrence has to recruit his son and teach him to be a sassy black woman. I think Mrs. Doubtfire is going to be Robin Williams teaching his son how to be a nanny, an age nanny.
Oh, can we get Jai Courtney to play him?
Why not? Fuck it.
I
Let's
wanted
face
to menacing at first.
it. Let's face it. Even Jai Courtney won't possibly ruin this any more than it's already bound to be put in the good ground. It just sounds terrible.
You like that? What about Channing Tatum? What's he got on his roster?
Channing Tatum, he's got quite a lot going though, hasn't he? He's got 22 Jump Street. He's got... isn't there a sequel to Magic Mike coming out?
Yeah, Magnum Mike.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh man, that's just an instantly better title.
I just give that. No, it's Magic Mike Double XL.
Ah, right, yeah, because you know, I like Magic Mike. Actually, it was a good movie. Well, actually, was that a subtle link by you? Because I've got a story about.
I was
I was just getting too carried away with Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, so Magic. No, never mind. Fucking not Magic Mike. Channing Tatum. He's in demand. He's obviously, he's no longer doing G.I. Joe anymore. Is there a third G.I. Joe coming?
I don't fucking care. Yes, there is.
I think there is, yeah. But he's no longer in that.
He's going to be in the trailer, though.
Very probably. The main one in the trailer, and then get removed after 2 seconds.
For fraud, that trailer.
I know, it's such bullshit. I'm going to tell you what, it twisted me. I was like, whoa, it threw me a curveball.
But not because it was good, just because they'd advertised it wrong.
I don't know, man. We slated G.I. Joe 2. What was it? Retaliation? When it came out. It is not a good movie, but I've had so much fun, talking bullshit about it.
Yeah, me too, actually. I saw a trailer for something else the other day, and all I saw was Ray Stevenson's name appear at the bottom of the screen. And I just started laughing, and everyone else in the cinema just looked at me like, oh.
Oh no! Didn't he have am I thinking? Did he have a dodgy accent in that film?
In G.I. Joe? Yeah.
Yeah, was he South African or something?
I don't know what he was doing. It was some sort of warped Cockney. Yeah.
It was really weird. I love Ray Stevenson, but he tends to make very bad decisions. He's either really good or just horrible.
I need to try and remember what trailer I saw him in, because I wasn't expecting him to be.
He's not somebody you ever expect to crop up, but he just tends to. If you watch him in Rome, he's fucking awesome in that show. And then you watch him in fucking G.I. Joe, The Punisher, anything like that, he's just not good. But anyway, fucking.
Oh yeah, no, he's in that film with Samuel L. Jackson. He has to protect the president after Air Force One crashes.
Fucking hell, and presidents are getting a hammer lately, aren't
they? I'm surprised, wrapped into sort of, what was it, White House down, so Air Force down or something, I don't know.
But we're already getting West London has fallen.
Yeah, we're getting a sequel to the inferior one of the two.
I don't know, did you ever see White House Down? I wanted to.
I saw Olympus Has Fallen on Netflix.
Yeah, I had to go to the pictures to see that.
It's phoned in all the way through.
Oh yeah, it's mediocre as hell.
So then I went and I bought White House Down on DVD because I needed to compare the two. And
yeah, I really want to see White House Down because it looked like the fun version.
That's exactly what I'd say about it. It's fun.
I really like Channing Tatum. I like Jamie Foxx. I think they're both good. The trailer made it look like it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, silly 80s style action movie. I didn't think it was going to be great, but it certainly looked better than the fucking phoned-in, serious but ridiculous fucking Olympus Has Fallen.
The plot makes more sense.
The plot makes more sense in Olympus Has Fallen. It's ridiculous. There's so much flip flopping, so much bullshit paper thin motives. I mean, fucking hell, the villain. Right, first of all, the guy who played the villain, you could tell he was going to be a villain before it was revealed because of the guy who was cast. He's always a bad guy. Isn't he in G.I. Joe?
Yeah, he plays the samurai guy or something.
Doesn't he? Or at least in the first movie. I don't know, but regardless, he's in fucking the remake of Red Dawn. He's a bad guy in every movie. So as soon as he turned up as the South Koreans ambassador at Aid, I thought, he's a fucking bad guy. Unless this movie's going to really, really flip me on my head, he's a fucking villain.
I don't know what sort of plot thing they were trying to pull, but putting glasses on him did not make him look less scary.
No, especially sunglasses, like fucking hell. The only thing that could have made him more suspicious if he walked in wearing a North Korean uniform. But never mind. Like, fucking hell, back to the topic at hand. So yeah, John Tatum. I like him. He's a good guy. Not going to be in G.I. Joe anymore. He needs a big franchise. You can't keep milking 21 Jump Street forever. So apparently he's in early talks to play Gambit in future X-Men films, which is interesting.
Well, I think it's a bit of a recast, because the last guy they cast was a bit of a girly girl for Gambit.
Who was it? It was the guy... What was he called?
Is it the one from Battleship and shit?
Yeah, Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's horrible. I really don't like him. He's just got no presence whatsoever. It's like somebody really wants him to be a star, but he's doing everything in his power not to make that happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the same thing happened with Dane Cook in, 2007.
Oh, God. And that was for the better that he didn't become a star.
Yeah, and now all he's doing is he's doing the voice in Planes. That's where his career's ended up, so that's fine. But Taylor Kitsch... not a very good Gambit. Certainly not what I imagine Gambit to look like. I think Gambit would be rough and almost fair,
he wasn't the problem so much in his defense. I don't like Taylor Kitsch all that much, but he wasn't the problem. Wolverine Origins was the fucking problem.
Oh, I thought he was in First Class, but he wasn't, was he? He was Origins.
No, he was in Origins, man. It was pretty awful all around. So yeah, this is Channing Tatum. I think Channing Tatum would actually make a pretty good Gambit.
Yeah, I think it'd be different enough to be interesting, but still retain enough of the character.
Yeah. Well, apparently his father is from Louisiana and he's from Mississippi, so he's kind of he's already got that southern quality that Gambit should have.
He just needs to look good in a patchy overcoat.
Yeah, Gambit's not a hard character to do well. You just got to give him a Cajun accent. Make him kind of slightly suave and a bit cheeky, and make sure the guy can throw playing cards. It's not that hard. He's
probably my favorite. I don't know how many times I mentioned this, but my only X-Men exposure really is the '90s cartoon, and he's my favorite character in that.
Yeah, he was one of mine as a kid as well. I thought he was really cool. Again, he's kind of he's a bit like Wolverine in the fact that he's a bit of an anti-hero. He stands out from the X-Men. He's not all goody two-shoes. In fact, I think he starts off as was he a thief or something?
Yeah, I think so. He was probably not aware of the X-Men and he was just using his powers for help himself. He wasn't being particularly evil.
No, he's like a con man, wasn't he? He used to kind of cheat on card games and stuff and stuff like that. But if they can get Channing Tatum in, that'd be great.
It's almost, they're trying to take X-Men as seriously as Marvel is again, and that's really necessary.
And the thing is, X-Men is something that probably has legs on it to do something like what Marvel are doing with their Avengers roster, because there's so many heroes who could go off on their own and do things. I'd look if they did Gambit well, I'd quite happily see a Gambit movie.
Yeah, me too.
Wolverine's obviously goes off on his own adventures, and the last one was pretty damn good, even though the first standalone one was terrible. We never got the Magneto movie.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the Origins movie came out before. There's 3 phases of comic book movies. There's the early attempts, which were awful, and then there's the sort of Burton maybe up to X-Men Origins, excluding 2.
I would say one of the early ones were kind of late 90s, mid 90s. The first comic book movie I remember being really good was Blade. And that, like, I didn't know that was a comic book movie for so many years because it was violent. It was very much its own thing. And Blade in the films is actually way, way more badass than he is in the comic book. He's actually pretty shitty in the comic book.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I couldn't believe it. But
the time when Iron Man comes out and Batman Begins comes out, it's almost like we're in a new phase where you have to treat it as seriously as any other film. You can't just go, we're going to make a superhero film, he's a cape, he's some superpowers.
yeah, I think the original two X-Men films are what kind of made way for modern day superhero films are taken seriously.
That's what Chris Nolan said when he first saw X-Men. He's like, this is what I wanted to do with Batman.
Yeah, you ground it in reality. You don't have to, but you have to ground them in their own reality and their own world and run with it. You can't be like shy about it. If you're gonna do it, you might as well fucking go for it.
Because I think X-Men 2 is probably the first comic book movie that I saw that was like, this is good.
Yeah, it was great. The second one. I mean, the first one's good, but it's kind of it's all a bit small. It like keeps things all quite low key. But the second one, like, it's bigger, it's more intense, it's more interesting. Like, there's a lot more about the characters themselves. It's quite dark. You got Brian Cox, man, as the villain. You just can't get better than that.
So I'm hoping, and you're right, this does have legs. This has almost got more legs than Avengers because a lot of these characters people already know.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think we're beyond the point now where you need to have every character like detailed, like this is where they're from, this is their powers. You can just find out naturally over the course of a film.
Well, yeah, because over the course of a couple of films, because if you're going to put the investment in that you shouldn't be scared about. Well, we'll reveal this backstory in film 3 of the arc or something.
Yeah, you don't need to know. You just need to know this is like this is Gambit. His power is he infuses things with energy and they explode. Is that right? That's my understanding of it.
A minute.
But like he used to throw playing cards because he could infuse them with energy and they would act as like basically like bombs, I suppose. And he also used to fight with a cane, like a kind of bow staff, didn't he?
Yeah.
I just know he was badass.
And Channing Tatum, I'm all for this. And just speaking of like standalone movies, and I mean not to get too off topic from Channing Tatum before I come back, but I did read that Jenny Lawrence is in talks for a Mystique movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for I don't know, man. Like, yeah, maybe it depends how they do it.
I'll see if she signs off on it, then it'll be good.
I would hope so. I was like a bit of Jenny Lawrence, but I don't know. Like Mystique doesn't seem to have much of a character, even in First Class, other than she's like, she's. I suppose in First Class at least they give her more of a character than Rebecca Romijn ever had in the original trilogy. She was basically Magneto's like pet viper in the original trilogy.
I'm hoping that because of the sort of changing of the timeline, what's going to happen in Days of Future Past, maybe she'll go off in a slightly different way to what she did. And then, she might, this is where this plot would be, and she would develop more of a character, hopefully. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Well, I think she's actually got I think Mystique as a character has actually got quite a lot to draw from off the comic books. I don't think she's quite as one note in the comics. And I think they started to give her a bit more depth in First Class, and we'll probably see more of it again in this one. But I still don't know what they would do with the standalone movie, really.
And we do know that Fox have to get moving on Deadpool.
Well, if we ever fucking see one.
Because the one thing I did like about Wolverine Origins is that the Deadpool that appears in the first 15 minutes is great.
Yeah, and that's who. Well, that's who we're going to see again, but not that terrible fucking
Project X thing that happened afterwards. That's awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So speaking of Fox and long-term plans, interesting news is that Spider-Man 2, which comes out 2 days ago.
Yeah, two days ago, because it's fucking Easter Sunday, isn't it? Happy Easter.
Easter bit.
Obviously, you went to church this morning.
I went to an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet.
Oh, even better. I suppose that is your church.
Yeah, God. So if you've had the pleasure of going to see Spider-Man 2, first drop us your thoughts at ScreenHogUK. But you will also, if you've sat through the credits, you'll have had an interesting little stinger at the end, which is a little teaser set up for X-Men.
Is this confirmed? Because it sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound something it sounds far-fetched to me.
No, it's definitely confirmed. It was on Empire, and it came straight from Sony, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say no, it's definitely not happening because I don't know either way. But I've not seen this, and it seems like I don't know, crazy.
Well, just to fill you in if you don't know, so at the end of Spider-Man, there's going to be a little teaser. You know, if you've stayed to the end of a Marvel film, you know what we're on about. Where it's a little scene taken out of context completely, but serves as a prologue maybe for the next film.
Yeah,
And so you're going to get that in some capacity at the end of Spider-Man for X-Men.
because they're
What?
fucking like they're thinking Spider-Man and his villains have as much leg on them as X-Men and Avengers.
Well, precisely. I don't know. I don't know what the thoughts were exactly, but you know, if you know anything about the way that studios are organized, Fox owns X-Men and Sony owns Spider-Man. There's been very little cross chat between them
Yeah,
regarding owning different heroes. I mean, Ben, you mentioned that Sony were talking with Marvel, weren't they?
yeah. Apparently, when the Amazing Spider-Man came out. Actually, I might have got it backwards when I was talking to you before. I think basically when the Amazing Spider-Man and the original Avengers were out. Yeah, sorry, I did get it backwards. Sony approached Marvel or the other way around, and they wanted the Oscorp building from Amazing Spider-Man to appear in the skyline in the final battle of the original Avengers movie. But
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
restrictions meant they couldn't get it in, so it kind of all fell through. But you know what? Like I've just looked it up actually while you were talking, and yeah, you're perfectly right. I'm Empire reported on it. Apparently, it's only happening in the UK though,
Just in the UK. That's interesting.
allegedly. But you know what? This can only be good because we might start seeing more collaborations between licensees.
Well, that's what a lot of early speculation was going into because there's been no crosstalk the other way, and it's sort of the Marvel's the big daddy at the minute, and
Oh yeah,
Sony and Fox have catching up to do, so they may be looking at each other thinking, well, look, enemy of my enemy situation.
possibly. And honestly, I think Sony have got more. I think Sony are in the weakest position here because while Spider-Man does make a shit ton of money, because I think you said it before we started recording, it appeals to younger kids more than like the dark and brooding Wolverine does. Although kids love Wolverine as well because he's a badass, but Spider-Man's more accessible to younger kids and a
Yeah.
younger audience. I think Spider-Man's also more accessible to people who aren't familiar to comic books because
Yeah,
like
everyone
everyone has
knows
a rough idea who Spider-Man is. Whereas, you try to get involved in the Avengers and you've got fucking 6 movies to watch before you're really up to speed.
And to be honest, in this country, they had changed the name of the film just so people knew what it was.
Yeah, Avengers Assemble. I'm not calling it Avengers Assemble.
Oh, it's basically Avengers. But with Spider-Man, you go up to anyone on the street, they're going to know who he is. They're going to know at least he can shoot webs and that he wears blue and red.
Yeah, everyone knows who he is. He is a big, a heavy hitter. But at the same time, I think Sony, obviously, we hear rumblings about them trying to expand their superhero stable. They want to do more movies. So we're talk about getting a Venom movie.
A six movie.
Yeah, the
There's got
Sinister Six. Who's in this Sinister Six?
God, Lizard, Vulture, Doc Ock. Is Electro in there?
No, is it not the Shocker? Obviously, Electro is a very, very different counterpart.
Well, it's 6 villains from Spider-Man.
Yeah, but apparently we're not getting the traditional 6 in that movie. Anyway, it's early plans. We don't really know a lot about it. But it feels like Sony kind of almost realized that they're really having to stretch their like license rights to make these movies. Like, I can see a Venom movie. I'm really struggling to see what the fuck a Sinister Six movie is really going to be about. And like, really, how much do you go? I mean, you could get a Black Cat movie going, but I don't think she's been introduced even in the new one. Who else? I mean, Daredevil's back with Marvel, even though he kind of hangs around the same areas as Spider-Man. I really don't know. I'm struggling to think. I mean, do we really need a fucking standalone movie for every villain he comes across?
I don't think we do personally, and this is where X-Men has more legs, but Spider-Man maybe has more name presence. So I think if they were to collaborate, it's a better deal for Sony than it is for.
At the same time, if they're willing to work together on stuff like this, I mean, obviously this is the beginnings of what could be, and the chances are studio politics will get in the way of any major collaborations. But why wouldn't they lend Spider-Man and Wolverine to the Avengers? Like, why wouldn't they work with Marvel to strengthen their own positions?
I agree, and I don't know why Marvel wouldn't want to work with Fox. I mean, Marvel obviously want their own rights back because they'd love to put all the actual Avengers together, but I don't know why they wouldn't work in the meantime.
Well, I can kind of see why. Like, kind of looking at this from Marvel's point of view, Marvel are, by large margins, the daddies at the moment. They make the most money by a long way. They call the shots, and they've done so using their B-tier heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's probably why, aside from just losing out on a great franchise, you don't want to give them to someone. They don't like Marvel. You're right, doing all the B heroes. Sony don't want to give them Spider-Man back because what could they do with that?
Yeah, and at the same time, Marvel have already gone. They're very deep in having created this cinematic universe that's got its own storylines and its own versions of events already happening. Do they really want to hand over creative control of that to Sony and Fox just so they might sell like 3 more tickets because Wolverine or Spider-Man's going to be in the next Avengers? They're going to get the numbers anyway. I think we're more likely to see collaborations happen when these superhero films start winding down a bit.
Yeah, which I'm hoping will be a while because I'm enjoying what's happening at the minute.
So am I, but at the same time, we're hearing talks of. What's the chances of Robert Downey Jr. sticking around for much longer? I certainly don't think we're getting another Iron Man with him in it. Chris Evans is only going to be doing Captain America 3 and then Avengers 3, and then he's out. Who else? How many other people are going to be sticking around for decades at a time?
To be working out your follow-up plans once your big stars have left, and this is where the first set of problems are going to. Well, I think we've overcome the first set, which was getting this thing off the ground, but your next set is going to be your established stars have left. You need to have new ones in place.
There's 2 things you can either do. You can either recast or swap out heroes.
I don't think recasting is an option.
I don't like the idea of recasting because they've created like a cohesive universe. But at the same time, you can't have somebody like. I suppose with Iron Man, you could maybe have like War Machine step in if Don Cheadle wanted to do stuff.
Yep, do that sort of. And to be honest, I don't know about Captain America, but has there been has other people stepped into his mask? I don't know.
Yes, maybe spoilers, but this is, it's been in the comics for years. Steve Rogers actually dies in the comics.
Yeah, it is.
And it's Bucky, the Winter Soldier, who steps into the Captain America shoes.
Well, there you go. If they were to pull something like that off, I think audiences will be fairly receptive.
They've already started to set that up, I think, in Winter Soldier.
The problem is that, the guy who played Bucky Barnes, as good as he was, it's not Chris Evans.
Yeah, that's the trouble. Chris Evans is great.
Cast Chris Evans. We're going to cast a star to carry this franchise, and this guy's going to be your friend. And then 3 films later, he's now going to be the star to carry the franchise. They didn't cast him that way in the first place. That's the only worry.
They didn't, so we'll see. But
regarding the Fox, regarding the Spider-Man X-Men collaboration, this is not confirmed, but I believe it was on Variety, which is normally quite good. It's normally 100% right. And the reason they say that Spider-Man is showcasing an X-Men thing is because the director, Mark Webb, who worked with Fox on 500 Days of Summer, after the success of that film, he signed a contract with Fox, which he then breached to go and work on Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
And
is this their revenge?
It's fine, we'll let you do Spider-Man, but you need to promote our next X-Men film. And they didn't make that deal with Mark, and then Mark went to Sony saying, hey, by the way, I'm assuming
you've got to get them.
I'm assuming Fox went straight to Sony and told them that you can have him if you let us do this. So that's what the reason is. But that still shows that I'm assuming Sony lawyers could have found a way around that.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think it harms or benefits either one more or less. I think it's a fairly win-win to both of them.
Yeah. Do you think it's a step in the direction to collaboration? But
yeah,
a
you
lot of
never know.
people think it's sort of movie legal crap, writing off anything. But we're a step closer still, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But I think we're going to have lots of more superhero movies for many years to come. So if you're sick of them, that's kind of tough. That's moving away from superheroes because I always feel we speak a lot on superheroes.
Yeah, we do.
You said you finally got to see the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Well, it's actually now come in that it's director Wes Anderson's most successful film, at least financially.
And how much is that?
It's past $100 million in box office takings.
All right. That doesn't sound like a great amount.
Yeah, but when you think about it, this was on a limited release, and it's slowly kind of been expanded.
That's true, yeah.
So, and let's face it, Wes Anderson is very niche anyway. Like, I don't think he's got a wide appeal. I think he appeals to hipsters largely.
Yes.
I think we talked about this during the little review we did during the Take 2014 show we did on this. But he's very much a hipster director. I think kind of young hip people aged between 18 and 25 are kind of drawn to his movies rather than a wider audience. So
yeah, I'll draw your gaze to Corrosion 2 on IMDb's user review. Hipster, that's what he is.
All right.
Just reading, just the language he uses, so flowery about the film and things. I was just trying to get an idea of the budget for the film, but it's not listed.
No, I don't have the budget, but I think it's making a lot of money for what it cost. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring it up because I actually really liked it. I'm not really a Wes Anderson fan. I like some of his movies, but I never say I really love them. But I thought this was worth watching just for fucking Ralph Fiennes, man. He was amazing in that film.
He was good, yeah.
Just some of his lines are absolutely hilarious.
Do you know that statistic that you put in? It's more impressive when you think about this, right? In the UK, it was on 284 screens, which I'm gathering is quite a lot.
Yeah, I suppose it probably covers quite a large area of the UK. That.
Considering the double was on at 10 screens in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. On opening weekend in the UK, the Grand Budapest Hotel made £1.5 million. And
is that all?
Breaking down that between the screens, I gather is not very many. But in the USA, on opening weekend, it was on 4 screens, and it made $800,000.
Yeah, it broke every record for limited releases. It shattered them. So
yeah, then it's gradually, so by week 2 or something, it was up to 1,200 screens. But
it's actually the highest grossing it's Wes Anderson's biggest film to date, really. But I'm just reading the article I got this from. Apparently, Wolf of Wall Street was also Martin Scorsese's highest grossing film.
Oh, was it? That's cool.
Apparently so, yeah. So yeah, great stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I like Wes Anderson. Maybe he's starting to, maybe starting to mature a bit with his style. Maybe hone it a bit more so it's less quirky and it's got a bit more substance to it, and thus appeal to a broader audience.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still thought Grand Budapest Hotel was very, very quirky.
It was just the opening sort of 5 minutes where you jump in between timelines so quickly.
Yeah. There's some
necessary, I felt.
Yeah, it's like a story within a story within a story. I mean, that bit at the start of the movie where the girl walks up to the statue and starts reading the book, and then it goes into the story proper. That's like such a frivolous bit to keep in, but it adds to its charm.
Yes, I suppose, and it's Wes Anderson film, so it's all going to be about the style. But
it's very
substance here as well. But what film do I not like? Grand Tenenbaums, it's good, but
Grand Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
You know, that was actually his previous highest grossing movie at 71 million.
It was. I can remember people making a big deal about it at the time. I mean, I wasn't part of the in crowd then. No, Christ, not that I am.
as you are now.
I'm a journalist now.
Is that what you call yourself?
But like Aquatic is perfect as sort of that style of film, and it's almost like he went quirkier again with this one.
Yeah, he did. It's very like everything about it. It doesn't feel like it's set in the real world. It's set in like a cartoon world.
Yeah.
I did like it though. It's very bittersweet. Despite
I
being
love,
very funny, it's quite dark.
like the old yeah.
I enjoyed it though. Yeah, it's good.
I can't. I still can't talk about it very well because I kind of fell asleep, but I did love it.
Great endorsement for it.
I'm so sorry, Wes.
You did say you were ill. It wasn't that you were bored.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I was really enjoying it. Although I think Swazi Ronan's Irish accent was quite off-putting.
Well, that's a normal accent.
Well, yeah, don't do it again.
Just put a voice on, will you?
It was
I think you pronounce her name Cerise.
I'll pronounce it however I want.
Fair enough. I quite like that girl.
No, she's good.
I like her. Well, specifically, I really like her in Hannah.
Yes, yeah, you talked highly of her, didn't you?
I think it's a badass film. Have you seen Hannah?
No.
Ah, man, you need to come over, man. We'll watch Hannah. Eric Banner's a badass as well.
And can we watch Return of the Killer Tomatoes as well, please?
Yeah, of course. We should always watch that film.
Well,
Alright, I mean, have you got any more news? Because we're getting off of time, and I've got a few bits and pieces that we could pretty much rattle through a bit quick.
yeah, let's rattle through them. Quick fire news.
Yeah, so David Fincher was going to be directing a new Steve Jobs biopic. Obviously, we had the Ashton Kutcher version that came out last year, but obviously no one saw it. Did you see it? Because I certainly
didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It's not that I dislike Ashton Kutcher either. I don't mind him. I don't even remember it being released over here.
No, I don't. I can't remember seeing it ever. Who was going to play Steve Jobs in this version?
I don't know. Did they even get that far in on it?
David Fincher said who he wanted to cast.
I can't remember. Christian Bale. Yeah.
Oh yes, Christian Bale. Of course it was. Everyone wants Christian Bale.
Of course they do. So they wanted Christian Bale, but who knows who we're getting now. But David Fincher basically walked because he demanded that he gets a $10 million payday and he wanted full control over the marketing rights. And the studio said, no, you're not having that. That's too much. I think that's bad. I think it's a bad move.
I think it is as well. I mean,
David Fincher's done nothing but great movies for for fucking ever now. For the last 10 years, he's got some really good movies. I mean, even his last few, which were a bit more low key. I mean, you got the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was a really good version of it.
Yeah.
It was a really long, slow burning thriller, and I was like, I knew what was happening because I'd seen the original version. And I knew the story, but I was still really gripped by it, and it was dark and brooding. And I actually thought, in many ways, it was better than the original version. And I got the impression it was actually a more faithful adaptation to the books. I could be wrong on that, but I thought Daniel Craig was great. Rooney Mara was class as Lisbeth Salander.
Yeah,
she was really good. So, hey, if I'm freed up from that, maybe we'll get the sequel to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
It's always been on his plate, but he's never seemed to ever pursue it. So maybe right.
It's a shame because, I don't know, man. The original, is it Norwegian versions?
Yeah.
They were the first one was a cinematic release, but the second and third one were TV movies.
Mm-hmm.
So the budget wasn't really there, and they weren't quite as good. So I would love to see a fully fledged Hollywood David Fincher version, because I get the impression, at least if I remember rightly, he had marketing control for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and we got some really kind of awesome, quite cryptic trailers that grabbed your attention and didn't really give a lot away and just made you want to watch it.
The one with the immigrant song is one of my favourite trailers that I've ever seen.
I love that version of the song. It's sung by Karen O, and it's the music's done by Trent Reznor. and it
Yeah.
plays over the opening credits to the movie are kind of like a Bond, like a Bond montage, and there's like loads of like this black oil crawling over these kind of title cards and these dragons coming out of it and stuff, and it looks awesome. And that song's playing. It's a really badass credit sequence. So yeah, I don't know, man.
But I was a bit surprised because I thought you meant he wanted like the back end of the marketing.
No, he wanted to basically steer the marketing for promoting it.
And I completely understand why he's done it. Maybe not why he's walked, but I completely understand why he'd want to have control because you're right, his promotion for that was top. And from what I'm reading, it's that they dropped the ball on the social network marketing. And that he's annoyed at.
I think as though David Fincher directed adverts for years. He was a commercial director for fucking years and years and years, and he knows his shit. And I don't know, man. He's in his films always have a great sense of style.
Yeah, do you think it's more the $10 million that's putting Sony off?
Maybe they said we'll give you a less, like if you want marketing money, we'll pay you less in the event that you fuck the marketing up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't all that interested, and maybe he highballed his demands so he could get off doing this.
It doesn't sound like a particular Fincher project, especially since he's already done one like this.
Well, maybe that's like maybe he maybe likes diversifying. He did The Social Network and it was great. Like, who would have thought a fucking movie about Facebook would have been as entertaining as that?
But then I watch anything written by Aaron Sorkin, so whoever they get in.
Well, the script for this one's going to be written by Aaron Sorkin as well. Yeah. Maybe he didn't want to do it. Maybe that's why he was like, right then, fuck it, I want Christian Bale or nobody else. And then we're like, right then, we'll try and get you Christian Bale. He's like, oh shit. Yeah. What else can I do to get off this? I want $10 million and he sounds like a bank robber. I want $10 million and the marketing budget. And a helicopter. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. I'm not quite as looking forward to that project as I was previously, but it'd be interesting to see what he goes and does instead. Just moving on to the next bit of news. You did the review for us, Die Hard 5. I watched it for 5 minutes and turned it off at Christmas.
It's got such editing in it. Did you notice?
I probably didn't watch it long enough to really pay much attention. I was just bored. It was just awful. Like, John McClane is just a prick in it. He was just this crotchety old man. And I could say, you know what? I can see why your son doesn't want to spend any time with you. Yeah,
and considered his son was pretty bad in it as well. He was actually the more relatable character.
Yeah, it wasn't John McClane anymore. It was Bruce Willis being crotchety.
Yeah.
I think they fucked it up basically. I think Die Hard 4 gets a lot of fucking flack.
I like Die Hard.
I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think it's an okayish action film that is way better than it has any right to be being a Die Hard film.
It should be an 18. That's the main problem I've got with it.
Yeah, it was a 12A, wasn't it?
It's too. They cut away from swearing. There's no real visible death in it.
Yeah, well, it's one of those films that you kind of get the impression it was shot for being like a 15 and then cut down afterwards.
And that's my type of this. But I actually sit down and really enjoy it.
It's okay, it's not a bad movie. It's not great, and I think it's easily one of the weaker ones, but. To be honest, I honestly think there's only really the first and the third one that are any good.
The second one's atrocious.
I don't like the second one. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, it's my favorite, but it's like the stupid 80s action movie one. Whereas
yeah,
the first one is like an action thriller. It's more of a thriller than an action movie. The first one, and it's awesome. And then the third one is a bit cleverer and it goes a bit bigger and it's something different. And obviously they throw Sam Jackson in the mix and it works. Whereas the second one is just kind of like, oh, let's just fucking explode everything and be daft.
Yeah, and it's so long. I mean, the first time I probably sat down and watched it all the way through, I think it was on ITV2. It took about 9 hours.
Because of all the breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But coming back to my news, apparently the horrendous fifth one didn't actually hasn't put anybody off making more.
Because idiots like me went to see it. And Cineworld based their buying rights on previous films in that genre.
Yeah, so this fucking Die Hard 6, which is apparently in the works, is going to be on 24/7 at your local cinema.
I'll
So
go to see
yeah,
it.
well, apparently it's been leaked that Fox are meeting with writers for a new Die Hard film, and apparently the plot brings back in Zeus, who is Sam Jackson's character from the third film, back into the mix.
Is he going to be the president?
What, a black shopkeeper from Harlem becomes the president after saving New York from bombs with John McClane, who's now a bitter old racist who kills innocent Russians on the street.
I think so, yeah.
Well, apparently early leaks or early ideas for this sixth film. It sounds reasonably interesting, actually. I don't know how they're going to get this to be anything other than just ridiculous, but apparently a story that's been banded around for a while for a sixth one is there's basically John McClane gets taken to Japan for he gets flown out there as kind of like a special I don't know prize because it's the 30th anniversary of the Nakatomi Plaza attack. And
All right.
I presume it's the company who own the Nakatomi Plaza
Yeah.
bringing him out and like showing him a good time to say sorry to mark the 30th anniversary. And apparently, so it's going to apparently it might take place in Japan, and it's got something to do with the original. And apparently, Zeus comes back into it in some very meaningful way. And I don't know what the fuck Zeus is doing in
Yeah.
in Japan 30 years after the original movie. 20 years or 10 years after the fucking one he's in. No idea. It just sounds ridiculous. But, you know, if maybe throwing Sam Jackson into the mix might make it a bit more entertaining, at least.
It's reached that point in the franchise where it's like, I think I said this about Star Wars Episode 7, where it can't get any worse, so I don't care what they do with it next. They've already had a disappointing one. If they make another bad one, they'll stop. If they make it good again, I'll be happy because it's good again. Either way, it's... So, yeah, do it for all I care.
Yeah, you're right. At this point, who really gives a shit? But maybe they'll go the Fast and the Furious route and just go ridiculous with it.
Well, I'd be up for that. I mean, they tried to do the... They've already done Olympus Has Fallen, so let's have White House Down next. Like, Die Hard 5 tries so hard to be serious.
And just fails.
And just, yeah, whereas let's have, like, Die Hard 4 doesn't have any grit, but at least it's fun. Let's have both.
Yeah, and it's got Justin Long, so what else do you
What's
want? Yeah, Justin Long was kind of a step down from Sam Jackson. Hell, here's an idea, right? Have Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. That would be amazing. That would be a class. Have him as the villain.
Yeah, you got...
You know, he's doing something a bit shady, but it's for the greater good for Shield. I don't know. There's all sorts of crazy shit. Well, let's just throw crossovers into the mix. We've been talking about them all night, so fucking throw them into the mix. Who gives a shit? Yeah, you're right, though. I think you've hit the nail on the head when you say that this series has already slid into the shit. If it manages to claw its way out, fair enough. If it doesn't, who cares at this point?
So, yeah, whatever. Good. It's interesting news, though. I like that plot. That's enough to have gone, this could be alright, but this is so early on in proceedings.
Yeah, who knows what the fuck? It's probably going to be Jai Courtney and Mary Elizabeth Winstead both fucking tagging along this time.
Well, did you ever play Die Hard with a Vengeance? No, that's the film, isn't it? Did you ever play Die Hard Vendetta on the GameCube?
No, I did not.
It was alright. It was the plot. Yeah, it was one of my favorite.
Did you ever play Die Hard Trilogy on the PS1?
No. It was a good...
Oh my god, it was like the greatest fucking game ever, man. I was actually reading a really good article on it about the other day. It was basically this British company called Probe. I think it was Probe. And they, at the beginning of the PS1 era, God, I'm getting so off topic here, but basically it was this small studio got two licenses. They got Die Hard Trilogy and Alien Trilogy, and they pumped all their resources into Alien Trilogy. And they, like, these four guys in a back room were left to do Die Hard Trilogy. And they made every film is a different game. So Die Hard 1 is a game, it's a third-person action game where you've got to go around, you work your way up the floors of the Nakatomi Plaza. Every floor has like a set number of terrorists and a set number of hostages you've got to rescue. And then once you've cleared the floor, you go up to the next. Die Harder is a light gun game set in the airport. And Die Hard with a Vengeance is a game where you're driving a car around in open world New York chasing bombs down. And it was just ultra violent. and it was like it just looked ugly as shit because it was early PS1, and the guys were even saying we didn't know how. Like in the article I was reading, saying we didn't know how to do 3D. So the sprite they're all actually 2D sprites stretched over 3D models. That's why they look so awful.
Find an emulator for this.
It's amazing, and I tell you what, the Die Harder light gun game was fucking brilliant. What the best thing about this though, it was utterly violent. It was bloody as hell. I mean, this was the first game in the Die Hard with a Vengeance one where you were driving cars in an open world. You could plow through crowds of people on the street, and blood would splatter on your windscreen, and your windscreen wipers would go. And you got to understand, this was a fucking launch title for the PS1. This was old shit. This is 20 years old. Nothing like that had been seen. And to be honest, you're not seeing anything like that again until Grand Theft Auto 3. And it was amazing.
Class. I need to go.
Yeah, man. Look up videos on YouTube. It doesn't do it justice, but it's fucking crazy. Yeah, it might be on the PS Vita store. I've not had a look.
It might be. I'll have a look after as well.
Although I don't know how the light gun game would work.
You're making my reference sound shit now, though.
Sorry. Go back to your Die Hard Vendetta.
Well, it's just the plot's really good.
Alright then, do you play as John McClane?
He plays John McClane, he's 50 or something. And your daughter, as in, what's her face, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character.
But it's not her at that point because she didn't exist in the continuity when that came out.
She didn't know the daughter existed, though.
Did she?
Well, yeah, she's in the first one.
Oh, yeah, but not Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing her.
No. Sorry, I see what you mean. The daughter was around. And she's an LAPD cop. And she gets kidnapped in the first level. You rescue her. And then you two go and chase down the person that kidnapped her.
This actually sounds like refreshingly simple, at least.
Well, and then you know, the big twist at the end is that it's Hans Gruber's son.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculous.
Oh no, it's not even Hans's son, it's Simon's son from the third one, so it's Hans's nephew.
Jesus Christ, that's stretching it thin, that.
Just ignore the whole plot though, I just want to see Mary Elizabeth Winstead in a cop outfit.
A sexy cop outfit.
Well, yeah.
Look, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all the way with it.
It's going to end up being a porn movie.
Pretty much.
Dick Hard.
Dick Harder. Yeah, you know what? That already exists. I can guarantee you that already exists.
We're going to get a message on our Twitter feed soon, aren't we?
I hope so.
I meant from the porn company, not just any message.
Yeah, we're suing you for breach of fucking copyright. Yeah, we'll get right in the script.
We've done a lot of planning tonight.
Yeah, you know, it's what we do.
We fairly spun out the meagre show that we had.
Yeah, we really have. God, we talk bollocks, don't we? Jesus Christ. It's impressive. Whether it's entertaining to listen to, I don't really know, but So yeah, this was episode 12 of The Front Row. Been a long time, but we finally got to what should have been a year's worth in a year and a half.
Yay! We should have had a party.
Light some fireworks. Yeah, so this was episode 12 of The Front Row. Of course, if you want more ScreenHogUK, head over to the website and subscribe to our I can never say this, our RSS feed via the little buttons in the top right-hand corner. Of course, you can also subscribe to our podcasts via iTunes. Again, there's a little button in the top right-hand corner. However, if you're listening to this on YouTube, we do put all our videos and podcasts up on YouTube. You can, of course, just subscribe to our channel, and please like this video. We love getting likes. It makes us feel all happy inside.
They're like crack. I just want more likes.
God damn, you said that with such fucking vigor. Yeah, oh yeah, of course, not to forget, we're also on Facebook and Twitter, so just search for ScreenHogUK and you'll find us there, so please follow and like us on that. Other than that, I think that's pretty much us for this week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.